What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 13 of Lyon Live here in FM19. We're back once again with another transfer special. If you missed yesterday's video, it was the start of the January transfer window. We did lots of transfer business. If you want to see the negotiation, the scouting process, all of that jazz, it was a good episode yesterday. It was slightly longer as well. I'm hoping that we're going to be a little less active in the transfer market today. But we're actually starting on a player profile here, and it's Sigurd Gronli here. This was actually recommended by a viewer, Jan Breton, on yesterday's video. I like this guy a lot. He looks very good. I've never had any experience with him in FM, and to be honest, this is my first time ever looking at his profile. But the reason I was curious is because I remember when I did my top 10 Wonder Kids video, there were a few people very upset that this guy didn't feature in it anywhere. So with that in mind, I want to try and sign him and see if he's any good. So I'm not sure how much they're going to want here. We'll try and negotiate an offer and just see what it comes out at. Looks like it's going to be about 230k, 240k. They really want the friendly, apparently. But he looks very good, to be honest, if we just look at his profile. He's a player who, as I said, I've seen people recommend. I believe that you need to have a pretty large database or Norway loaded for him to appear. But he's pretty technically gifted as a playmaker, very good at set pieces as well. I'm not really sure on his potential, to be honest, but for the fee that they want and his current wages, I'm pretty happy to bring him in and see what he can do for us. I don't think he'll be a first-team player. I think he fits into that kind of bracket of player that we've been signing a fair few of this January in terms of player for the future who doesn't necessarily command the biggest fee. Of course, last episode I ended things on a bit of a dilemma, and it was, do I sign Moreno? He can join us on a free transfer at the end of the season, at the end of his contract at Liverpool, on £50,000 a week. I'm going to be honest, I asked you guys what you thought. Most people were like, yeah, definitely get him. I'd kind of already made up in my head I was going to sign him. I feel like in FM he's very, very solid. And I think for £50,000 a week, we've got an exceptionally good left back here for absolutely no transfer fee. I think it's a really good bit of business. It kind of suits us well. It's, you know, an inexpensive transfer. Yes, the wages aren't small, but for the player that we're getting at the end of his contract, he looks very good. We do actually have the option to buy him now, but we don't necessarily need him now. I feel like 9.5 million is a little too steep. Anyway, Gronli here at Tromsø. What are my scouts saying? They think he could be a Ligue player in the future, but there's some doubts over his potential to improve. Well, we'll continue to scout him, but with that in mind, I do want to offer him a contract. I'd like to lock him into a longer-term deal without yearly wage rises if possible. Okay, maybe I offered him a bit too much there, but I don't know, £5,000 a week. He looks pretty solid. Mentals are very good. Pretty nice playmaker. It's a position where we do have plenty of talent, but I like the look of him. And again, he kind of fits into that bracket of players who I feel like are good for the reserve team and potentially the under-20s, the under-18s, or rather the under-19s here in France. And he could be just a good player longer term. Of course, last episode, just to quickly recap on the transfers, Shadas Andrincao joined us from Braga. Shadas here looks very, very good. 21 years old, Portuguese youth international. Extremely, extremely well-rounded. Can play lots of positions. And Trincao also brought in. These two players, less than £4 million for the two of them as a pair, I think is just fantastic business. We have great talent in the attacking midfield department, but I do have some concerns over whether or not the likes of Depay, Fekir and Bertrand Traore were realistically going to be able to hold on to longer term. So having players like these, kind of players of a similar mould who we can bring in and hopefully develop to potentially even be replacements on extremely low transfer fees just makes a lot of sense. Of course, we did get a bit of an increase in the transfer budget, and if you did miss yesterday's episode, I recommend you go and watch it if you want to know more about these signings. But here we have Ibrahima Kanate. He looks very, very solid again. Amazing, amazing physicals at centre-back, and he was not the only centre-back. Of course, two more. Nelson Monte brought in for 950k. Just a very, very good backup defender. Good mentals, good with the ball at his feet. And we also brought in Markovic here, an exceptionally talented centre-back, one of the best young centre-backs in the game this year. I really like the look of this guy. On the outs, a few players we already knew were going out, but Gravenberch, of course, went on loan to Montpellier. I'm not usually in the business of loaning out players. I know that someone on yesterday's video, or in fact a few people said, Jack, you've got this pretty large squad now. I don't necessarily disagree with the fact it's large. I feel like anything below 30 players is pretty average for a Champions League side with a lot of fixtures. But we do have a lot of younger players. And people are saying, Jack, why don't you loan them out? I'd rather have a more kind of control, I guess, over their training by keeping them at the club. But additionally, they are players who I would like to rotate into the team where possible. And even if there's only a slim chance they'll play first team football, I'd rather they be here under my supervision in training and such to develop, rather than risking, sending them out on unsuccessful loan spells. The exception here being Gravenberch, who has already improved a lot this year. Looks pretty first team ready, just isn't quite good enough to play regularly for us. But I'm hoping that in going to Montpellier, he's going to put in some really top-notch performances for them. Of course, Raphael has gone to China, and we sold Jeremy Morel, one of our centre-backs, 34 years old. We gave him away for nothing, but we did get rid of his wages, which was nice. And of course, speaking of wages freed up, if we just look at released players, Mbia, we let go, mutual termination of his contract. He was on £60,000 a week. I actually think the compensation we agreed with him was pretty modest. It wasn't too bad. I think it was about £700,000 to release him. So, we are, of course, on the 11th of January here. If we just look at the, you can see here, the transfer budget. We've got 14 million to spend and £80,000 on wages, so I can sign a few players. Additionally, we have got a few players still potentially joining us, besides Gronley. Glenn Kamara from Dundee looking like a potential free transfer option. I think he could be a pretty good backup defensive midfielder. And then two younger strikers from Eastern Europe. We have here Jovan Markovic, the Romanian international, under 19 level, looks very, very solid. And of course, we also have Dejan Jolovic, who looks, again, exceptional. Two very good strikers, pretty similar. I'm not sure either of them are first team ready, but I feel like they're the kind of players that longer term could be pretty beneficial for us to have in the team. Anyway, we should have a few more games than yesterday in today's episode, and hopefully a few transfers here and there, including Markovic, who we are going to sign just immediately. £1.2 million for him. If we can get Dejan as well for 800k, I feel like we've got two very, very good young prospective strikers for less than £2 million. Again, we're really hunting out value in the market. I could go to the big European leagues and pick up a similar player, I feel like, for 3 or 4 times the transfer fee that some of these players we've signed are coming in for, especially the likes of Trincao and Shadas. They are just exceptional talents who I'm extremely happy to get in. And, we can send Markovic on an intensive language course. He probably isn't going to play that much this year, to be honest. Markovic, I like him. I do like him. But I'm not sure he is necessarily first team ready. But he's only 17, so there's not really a reason to rush him into the team just yet. In terms of his training, I think we'll train him to be a complete forward with a focus on his quickness. I do want to improve his quickness. It's a bit of a gaping hole in his game, but for an 18-year-old or 17-year-old even, he's just got a lot of potential, it seems at least, and his current ability is extremely good for a player of his age. Marin's picked up a little injury. Hopefully that's not going to be anything too serious. As you can see, we've got the quarter-final of the Coupe de la Ligue against Nice coming up. I think we're going to be without Fekir for that game, of course. He picked up a kind of shorter-term injury previously. Gronley has agreed to join us. I mean, £245,000. It just feels like a pretty good move. Even if he isn't the craziest player in the world, I find it very hard to believe we're going to make a loss on him at that kind of fee. So again, I'm going to bring him in. He's a player who I think will go straight into the reserves. But we will also make him, as part of his development, available for the under-19s. Now I think about it, I should probably also do that for Jovan Markovic. Obviously, we have a few players who are in the senior team who we make available for the reserves. Equally, players in the reserves who are under the age of 19, it's just worth making them available for the under-19 games as well. Giving them as much first team possible, not just first team football, but as much football as possible is just going to be vital to player development. Joseph Martinez out for 3 weeks. That's a bit of a shame. He's actually a player who a few of you guys have talked about the fact maybe I should look to sell. He has been very, very poor for us. He joined us for only £6 million. I do fear that injury means we're not going to be able to shift him on. I know a few people, kind of when we were talking last episode in the comment section about, what should I be spending the leftover transfer money on? people were like, maybe another striker. You know, you've got Dembele getting in goals, but then in terms of your next striker, you got Martinez, who's not really scoring a great deal. It's hard to disagree, but at the same time, I'd like to give Martinez more opportunities. But also, I feel like if we were to get rid of him, I don't necessarily know who we'd get in for the money that we've got. I'll be honest, I'm pretty happy with the first team squad at this point, which is kind of why there's younger players now that I'm just looking to sign players that, could be reasonably good for the future. We haven't looked, too much more at players whose contracts are running out. Obviously, we're looking at signing Moreno. He looks like a very good player. We did look at a few of the players higher up here, but we didn't go too far down, I guess. I mean, this is sorting by if we just sort by recommendation level, you can see here there's not that many kind of crazily good players. Obviously, for a player like Glenn Kamara, the reason we're going in for him is because he wants so little. This guy looks pretty good, Toze, but 26 years old. We have better younger players in the same positions. It might be worth checking the transfer market now I think about it. We have got £12.5 million. That is a very good sum of money to sign someone. I don't know who we'd sign for that kind of money, but we can just have a poke around the market, I guess, and see what's available. Obviously, there's players towards the top here who are going to be a little out of our price range. £12 million in modern football standards, isn't it? An unheard of amount of money. Someone like Oliver here is good, but we don't need more playmakers. That's the one area of the pitch where we don't need more players. At this point, I'm pretty confident in saying. Are there any good French players? Lenglet, interesting. He could be a pretty good pickup. It'd be nice, to sign a few more French players. Obviously, we've already signed a hell of a lot of defenders this transfer window, but he is left-footed. He does also have perfectionist personality. And I do wonder if we could train him to play left-back. His asking price is 19 million. That's a tiny bit out of my budget. We could get someone in like Ben Yedder as a backup striker. His asking price is 16 million. We might as well get a scout report on him, I guess. I feel like I signed Ben Yedder in my Leverkusen save. It's kind of interesting how similar players are available. So I don't necessarily know if I want to sign him again. Samuel Grandsir here from Monaco. He looks okay. He doesn't look crazily good. He's more of a winger as opposed to a playmaker down the middle, which is where I feel like we have perhaps a little too much talent. There's a few other players here, but there's no one who's kind of jumping out at me as a name that I recognise and would go, yes, he is the man that I really, really want. I mean, Denny Celebos is good, but he plays the position where I just don't need players right now. And then you've got Diego here who plays left-back. We've just agreed to sign Moreno. I mean, we don't necessarily have to spend the money that we have, We can just sit on it if we want to. There's no reason that we have to, squeeze each and every drop out of the team. You can see here, Glenn Kamara joining on £6,000 a week. Consistent player, 23 years old. He's younger. I like the look of him just as a good backup defensive midfielder. We can buy him now for 1.1 million. I don't know if we necessarily need him right now, but I feel like as a squad player next year, a very, very solid backup, he's going to be pretty perfect for us. £6,000 is very, very low in terms of the wages that he's on. It will make him one of the lowest earners in the first team, and I think considering what he offers us, he's not too bad. A few other players here who we were scouting out. Obviously, we ballsed up the negotiations with Ferreira previously. He is a player I wouldn't mind going back in for. He does look very good. I wouldn't mind just scouting him further as well. Ivan Sunjic here. Again, he looks okay, but he's not as good as Kamara, who we're already signing, so I don't feel like we necessarily need to sign him. Interesting to note here, obviously PSG knocked out of the Cup. They've just played in the League and won 3-0, so they do leapfrog us in the table. We will, however, have a game in hand on them. Anyway, we go into the game against Nice here. We're going to be missing a few key players. Fekir, coming back from injury, he's not fully fit at all. We'll have to bring Aouar into the team, who himself is a match fit. Terrier is suspended for today's game, but that's okay. We can bring in Saint Maximin. In terms of attacking midfielders, I feel like we might be looking at getting Trincao in the team and potentially even Jadas. just with our current injury and suspension kind of situation going on here. Terrier's out. Fekir, I don't really want to rush back into the team. I mean, although we have a lot of attacking midfielder talent, you can see with Marin and Fekir carrying minor injuries, which they could probably play through, but I don't really want to risk it. Depay injured and also Terrier suspended. Although I could potentially look to loan out Shadas and Trincao. I mean, you can see here, they're players that we do need in the first team. They're going to have to step up in this kind of game and hopefully show us what they're all about. I'm actually tempted to give Shadas the appearance over Aouar here. Aouar's not been in the best of form lately, and he's still coming back from match kind of fitness, or to match fitness. His sharpness is right the way down. So I might give him and Shadas just a half each. To be honest, the team is still a very, very strong team. It's the Cup quarter-final, so I don't want to rotate the team too much here. Also, we've got a fair few injuries to strikers, and Martinez is out. As a result, I feel like we're actually going to have to bring in Jovan Markovic, who I said, you know, we can stick him in the reserve team. He's not going to be needed in the first team just because of all the injuries we've got to strikers. Obviously, Terrier's out, Depay and Martinez, all players who could step up and play there. We're going to put Jovan Markovic on the bench. So the 17-year-old could get an opportunity here in the first team. Will be interesting to see how he gets on in today's game, should we choose to bring him on. With it being a quarter-final, I'm not going to rotate the team overly much. The board don't value this competition as much as the previous domestic competition we played in last episode, but of course we crashed out of that on penalties. So with that in mind, and the fact we are in the quarter-final here, I feel like it's my duty to give it our all in this game, not play on the back foot and actually play to win. So, well, we'll see how we get on here against Nice. They're a good team. They're doing pretty well in the league. We did annihilate them when we met them in the league previously, but I can't afford to underestimate them at all. We are away from home, but I want to play our attacking system. Given the fact you can see here they are playing with wing-backs, I'm going to do well, what we do best, and that is switch our wing-backs onto attack. And then going to switch Shadas onto support and change both of our inside forwards to attack. This is something that I think we did last time we played them with this kind of system. The mindset basically being in that having both the inside forwards and the wing-backs on attack, we're really going to overload their wing-backs. Equally, they're trying to crowd out the middle of the pitch, so with that in mind, Shadas can drop a little bit deeper on support, help with the link-up play there. And well, we'll see how we get on. We've got a chance here. Tete on the overlap, whips it back post. It's hoofed clear. I mean, you can see their game plan. It's going to be to hit us on the counter-attack. Morpie through on goal, hits it. Lovely save by Lopez. Bails us out a little bit. 6 minutes gone. Perhaps a warning there. A warning shot. Just a kind of, hey, we can't afford to underestimate them hitting us on the break here. We are going to be committing men forward in the wider areas of the pitch, which could cause us some problems. But I feel like the big threat really is their kind of two strikers playing off each other. I'm hoping that our two centre-backs are going to match them well. Given the fact they've not got a centre attacking mid, I'm not going to drop the ball in midfielder deeper, at least not yet. But it is on my mind. That's got to be offside, right? Is that offside? I almost don't want to celebrate that. We're going to VAR. I think it has been disallowed. I thought it was offside. I didn't celebrate. I mean, it's not even fractional, is it? It's a shot from miles out. Dembele doesn't really know about it. It hits him on the shin and rolls in. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what Dembele was doing there to not be alert and aware that the ball was coming in, but I'm not going to complain about it because we're on the attack again here. And, well, he makes things up to us. Shadas with the secondary assist. Crosses it back post to Wallace, and well, he nods it back into that danger area, and it's Dembele's 10th goal of the season. And well, he definitely wasn't offside from that one. Good to see our little corner routine working wonders. Of course, maybe a few months ago he would have been offside there, but we've kind of refined that set piece over time. We're a bit of a one-trick pony when it comes to it, in truth, but we're a one-trick pony who do our trick very well, and if other teams can't shut down Wallace on the back post, we're going to continue to do our one trick. Anyway, they're on the attack here. Marcelo deals with it okay. Let's not mess around with it too much at the back here. Nice little flick on by Dembele, but no one really to get onto it. We are pressing Dante very, very hard here, though, trying to force a mistake out of them. And we've won the ball here high up the pitch. Saint-Maximin dinks it in. Headed away, but only as far as Ndombele, who might have a go here. Lays it to Traore, who does have a go. Oh my god, the bending effort, it's the woodwork, and the rebound is not going to find its way in. What an effort that was by Dembele. He whipped that. It swerved so much in the air. Unfortunately, it didn't quite swerve enough. Wallace back post header. That was an okay opportunity as well. We are creating a fair bit. Nice with just that one chance all game. They hit us on the break early on. I hope we've learnt from that a little bit. You've got to say it's a bit of a disappointment in some ways that it's only 1-0 here. It should probably be a few more as far as we're concerned. But we do look largely dominant. We're always going to have to be wary of them hitting us on the counter. But, well, I'm going to tell the players I'm not happy. I'm going to tell them to step it up. I want a little bit more from you, lads. Show us a little bit more, please. Right, Traore bringing the ball forward down the right-hand side. Danilo crunching tackle. Traore indicating he might want to come off with a bruised knee. Now, he doesn't actually look like he wants to come off. He's not got the injury notification, but I want to give Francisco Trincao some game time. I think he is a very, very capable inside forward on the right-hand side, Trincao. He was amazing for me last year in FM, and I want to give him a chance. And, well, why not give him a chance with Shadas as well? Is that going to be a penalty? I think we're going to VAR, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be one. It is. It's going to be Dembele to step up to make it 2-0 here. This could put us in pole position. Dante committing the foul. Dembele steps up. It's not the most convincing of penalties, but we'll take it. It's a second goal of the game for Dembele, who is finding his form. Went from scoring, I think, 2 goals in something like 9 games this year to, well, you know the rest. He's scored, I think, 9 goals in at least the last 9 games. He feels like he's averaging about a goal a game. And Ndombele on a booking is a tiny bit concerning. We'll bring on Aouar for him. Janas is lacking some match sharpness, but I'm just going to chance it with him. We're just going to keep him on. When he now gets injured, I will take full responsibility. But, no, we're doing okay in this game. I don't feel a need to take him off. And we've already brought in Aouar now for Ndombele, who I was originally thinking might come in for Shadas in the attacking midfield department. Berbatov, set piece, hits the woodwork. Can we get it clear? We can, okay. Is that Dimitar Berbatov? I can't talk. Dimitar Berbatov it is. He's come on in the 79th minute for them. A bit of a super sub, perhaps. Big ball forward. Dembele for the hat-trick, maybe. He's on his own. The keeper made a good save. I don't know if he could have kept the run going a little bit longer. It looked like he kind of ran out of steam there as he broke away. Now a set piece. Aouar whips in. Wallace, free header at the back post. Maybe a second chance here. Jadas can't get there. Third chance, maybe. Wallace, have a go. Gives it to Toussaint. He's probably going to hit it over here, isn't he? I'm emotionally prepared. St. Maximin, I take it all back. It's offside, apparently. I don't think that was off. I do not think that was offside. Apparently it was, according to VAR. I mean, okay. It was close, but he probably was off by a hair. But I don't think it's going to matter, so I don't care. 2-0. Not the craziest performance, but when you consider we're missing Terrier, Depay, and also, of course, Fekir, our main man. I feel like we've done pretty well there to get a win against Nice. A few of the younger players, whilst they played today's game, they didn't play kind of game-changing roles in the game. I'm looking at you, Jadas and Trincao. But good to get you some game time nevertheless. And when we can give our younger players some football and it doesn't come at the cost of the first team results, I'm always going to be a pretty happy bunny about it. 2-0 is how this is going to finish. And I have absolutely no complaints. I'm very, very happy, boys. Very happy indeed. That's what we wanted. Monaco get knocked out of the competition. Lille go through on penalties. Marseille also for our big rivals. I feel like at this point with Monaco and PSG out, we have to be looking at ourselves as favourites for this cup competition. Dembele superb in front of goal yet again. I feel like he's got to be on the verge of an international call-up, surely. We've now got Saint Etienne in 2 days' time, which is our big rivals. So with that in mind, I am going to rest all of the players who appeared in that first team game outfield. Fekir still out for 3 days. I think he is not going to be back for the game against Saint Etienne, which is a bit of a concern. We might be able to chance him on the bench, I guess. I don't want to say this money is burning a hole in my pocket, but I am just kind of curious at who we could potentially bring in. I'm just looking here at who our scouts are recommending. I mean, looking at the general maximum asking prices for a lot of these players, they're way out of our budget. Luis Felipe here. I mean, he looks very good at Lazio, doesn't he? Wow. I mean, we'll get a further scout report on him. Of course, we are half looking maybe for a long-term successor to Marcelo. But we have already added in a fair few good centre-backs. We obviously already have Denea, Kanate as well, who's a good centre-back, and also Monte and Markovic. But he does look like he possesses some pretty good kind of real quality at age 21. And because he plays for Lazio, he might already have a bit of a thing going on with Wallace. There's also Opamecano, although I feel like he's going to want way too much in terms of transfer fee. But our scouts have recommended him. We might as well just stick in an offer. Yeah, Leipzig have a £71 million release clause on him. Obviously, we're not going to be hitting that clause, but that might impact our ability to sign him. There's a few players here who are being recommended who play in Argentina, which is interesting. I've not really looked at teams like River Plate, but they do always have like very good players. There's certainly players within their team who I'm pretty familiar with at this point as good players in FM. Ezequiel Palacios is definitely one of those. Unfortunately, he would count as a foreign player, which we don't have a spot in our team for at the moment. I'm actually curious, if we just look at the Argentine under-20s team, is there anyone here who is kind of particularly good? I'm trying to think. I feel like I should get my own international squad view set up, you know? I feel like I really should. Let's do it right here and now. Just because it'd be good, for example, to have general and nationality, but then also secondary nationality. I think you can add secondary nationality, but it'd be good to have both of them here, especially if, you know, we're just curious. Because, for example, Lucas here wouldn't need a work permit and wouldn't count as a foreign player because of his secondary nationality. So just being able to see that at a glance is probably pretty useful. Just think if there's any other things I'd want to get in. Maybe we could also have scouting ability and potential, because obviously this would be if we've scouted the player already. And also their age. Age is always a useful one just to have in. We've now got to battle against the columns that is kind of Football Manager. Right, that's an okay view. I'm going to export my current view. I am going to save this as WorkTheSpace national teams. This will just be a useful one for us to have because, you know, if we just want to flick through the under-20s real quick, for example, we can look at the Brazil under-20s here and immediately I can see the players who won't count as foreign if we wanted to go in for them. Now, whether or not they're actually any good remains to be seen, but the fact that we can have this just all set up in a view where we don't then have to click on the players is probably worth the time and effort to set up. I'm going to be honest, rather underwhelmed by the players that we've just been shown there. I got my hopes up. I was like, oh, there's a few who actually kind of tick the bill, but yeah, they're not quite of the quality that we'd like. Of course, if I was playing with attribute masking on, I would just scout all of these players, but we're not, so I'm not going to worry about it. This guy looks okay. Uruguayan international striker. Never heard of him. Joaquin Ardiaz. That's definitely not how you say his name, but it sounded good. Franco Israel, a slightly easier name for me to say there. Also Marquez plays for Barcelona. For some reason I feel like we might have trouble getting him to leave the Barcelona team. But yeah, custom views are definitely something I recommend you take some time doing. Of course, mine are all available on the Steam Workshop. There's a link to my kind of workshop page down in the description, as there is links to everything that I use in terms of custom files with my game in the description. It's always there. I still get people ask me what skin I'm using, but if people use their eyes, they can find everything that they could ever want down below. But yeah, custom views, even if it's just setting up your own, I definitely think it's worth doing. We're going to sign Dejan here for 800k. I really like the look of this guy. I actually think I prefer him to Markovic, who was the other kind of younger player who we brought in. Obviously, we can register him here. We'll also register Armin Gouiri, who I'm hoping is going to be back from injury before too long. He is an exceptional talent, but starts the game with damaged cruciate ligaments. And that has, well, absolutely wrecked his physical. So he's going to have a bit of a recovery job. But he's definitely a player that we should be aware of as a good prospect for the future. As for Dejan here, I'm going to train him to play complete forward on attack. And for focus, I'm also going to focus on his quickness, because he's not the fastest player. And especially with a lone striker system, I feel like pace is just useful to have. As good as for a lone striker system, I like to have stronger players who are more physical and can hold up the ball perhaps a little bit. Pace is equally important, just for the out ball, trying to get the ball into the channels quickly, hitting teams on the break. Obviously, Dembele really ticks the bill there. Anyway, we've got a cup semi-final draw here. We are going to get drawn against Guingamp. The other game is going to be Marseille v Lille. I'd love Marseille to win that so we can have a final against our big rivals if we were to both go through. That would be the dream result as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I'm conscious of the fact that I thought today we'd get through more kind of stuff than last episode. But so far, we've been a little slow going. I guess there's just been, continued transfer work, really. You can't rush art. And, well, there is certainly an art to making sure you sign the right players. We are still sat with this massive sum of money. I'm kind of now wondering if I should just wait towards the last week or so of the transfer window. I say that's coming up pretty soon, but just towards the end of the transfer window where players might try and force moves, get unhappy. There might be some new players emerge on the transfer market and such. Anyway, we have Saint Etienne today. I am going to start Aouar ahead of Shadas. Fakir, 77% condition. You could play 45 minutes. It's almost not even worth having him on the bench if he can only play that time. Terrier's back, so that's something. Obviously, he'll play it out on the right for Saint-Maximin. I just wonder if there's anyone else we need to bring into the team. Obviously, we're missing a few pretty key players through injury, which is always a bit of a shame. One good bit of news is the fact that player condition has actually recovered pretty well from that previous match. So we'll get into this. This is a big league game for us. Not only is it against our rival Saint Etienne, but with PSG playing that match in hand, there is a tiny bit of pressure on us to win this game. I'm going to tell the players to do this for the fans because it's a kind of derby game. They will react pretty well to it. Usually, telling them to do it for the fans doesn't get a reaction out of players, but in these kind of bigger games, it definitely can. I do also want to sort out our tactics a little bit. I noticed they're playing that deeper 4-4 kind of 1-1 system where they play with the deeper wide midfielders. So with that in mind, we're going to just push our wing backs forward. It's kind of a go-to change that we've done throughout this year. It's, for the most part, worked pretty well. Despite the fact we are away from home here, I want us to play on the front foot. I want us to play on the attack, and hopefully it can lend us well as they have a chance, a set piece narrowly over the crossbar. Heart-in-mouth moment for us very early on. Saint Etienne with the first real chance of the game. Since that chance, you can see here, we seem to be dominating in terms of the sheer quantity of orange that's on display in the statistics column, but we are yet to find the back of the net. Dembele picks up a potential twisted knee. That is not an injury I want to risk. Cornet is the only striker I have, but what I actually can do is I can move Terrier up to striker, then bring in Saint-Maximin out on the left-hand side. But Traoré, set piece, hits it, Ruffier saves. Dembele probably should have scored the rebound. In fact, there's no probably about it. He should have scored the rebound. That is going to be his last action of the game as well, that miss from that rebound. I mean, look how close that was to going over. Okay, that was legitimately close. Cleared away, and unfortunately Dembele couldn't get the rebound. We're going to take off Dembele. Knee injuries are always a bit high risk. I don't want to risk him. I feel like Terrier should be able to get some goals. And, well, maybe Wallace can make something happen from a set piece. Not on this occasion, unfortunately. His header goes wide, but I feel like we're not a one-trick pony, which is kind of fortunate. Some teams overly rely on their strikers for goals. There's lots of things you could accuse our team of being and doing. I feel like one thing that you definitely couldn't accuse us of is being overly reliant on our strikers. Anyway, half-time is 0-0. I'm going to get shouty at the team. I mean, the reality here is that they've had 0 shots on target and we've had 70% of possession. it feels like it should be a matter of time before we get back into this game. So I'm going to stick with what we're doing. I'm not going to panic and make, drastic sweeping tactical changes because we have been on top. I'm hoping we're going to be rewarded here. Terrier, not far wide, a really good opportunity. Playing that striker position. I feel like this is a position that Terrier has played for us but has never scored in when he's played. PSG, you can see, are beating Guingamp as well, 4-1. So it's immediately now, not getting a win from this game would be, well, bad. Bad news in terms of we would be trailing PSG by more than 3 points. We would have a game in hand, but I don't really want to look at our games in hand. Terrier's had an awful game. I'm going to bring in Cornet at striker. Bertrand Traore has also been pretty poor, so we'll take him off for Trincao. Lots of fresh legs in the final third now. Really trying to push for this game. We've switched to attack as well. I don't really want to overcommit here and risk us getting caught out. As I said, we've been so dominant in this game. I don't want to make sweeping tactical changes. 3 minutes left. They've got a set piece. Please, not like this, FM. It's whipped in Colo. It's blocked. The rebound goes in. I'm hoping a flag's going to be raised, but I don't think it's going to be. We're going to VAR, but I think it's going to count. I mean, I feel like we've been the better team throughout this game. We've not created enough. I feel like we really have missed Fekir. But the goal is given. With 3 minutes left of the match, a set piece that we just didn't get rid of. I didn't think there was any chance of it being offside, and I was right to think that. Saint Etienne going to get a win here against us. That is catastrophic for our season. Obviously, unfortunate that we were missing so many players, and I do feel like we were by far and away the better team. Could I have changed more tactically? I guess debatably so. Obviously, the fact Dembele got injured was always going to be a bit of a problem. Not many high-scoring games, but unfortunately for us, one that was high-scoring was PSG's win. You can see with that, they are now 4 points ahead of us, and, well, we have got a game in hand, but they will still be a point clear even if we were to win it. That is problematic. We have got Stade de Reims coming up. So a game that hopefully we can bounce back with a win in. Dubois here, I kind of want to sell. I don't really want to loan him out. He's supposed been asking for a move. Let's see if anyone comes in. £6 million is not a crazy sum of money, I feel like, to ask for him. He's a good young French fullback. Unfortunately for us, he's just not really in our first team plans immediately, and he wants regular first team football, which I can't offer him. But yeah, that is a really, really poor performance. We missed Fekir big time. We really did. Obviously, Depay's also been out for that game, so we have been lacking a fair few players. But, I mean, make no mistake, it's points that we need to be winning regardless of the situation with our first team, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, at least we can strengthen up for our next game, but you can see here Dembele's going to be missing for the Rennes game, I think. He's going to be racing back to fitness. Martinez is out injured. Depay is out injured. We are hit hard in the final third by injuries. I feel like we've been pretty unfortunate, not just with the number of injuries, but with the fact they've been in such a concentrated area of the pitch. That game against Saint Etienne, the first game I can remember, potentially even the first game in our time here where we've not scored in the league. I feel like it might be, you know. Yeah, that is the first league game we've not scored in. In terms of cup games we've not scored in, we didn't score, obviously, against Juventus. I mean, to be fair, Saint Etienne defended well. We didn't really have any killer instincts. We weren't able to break through. And, well, if you don't score, you can't win. And we didn't score, so we didn't win. I know, sometimes I drop these nuggets of knowledge that you've never ever considered. Konate's now out for 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, the good news is he's a defender. And he's a backup. The bad news is I'd rather our new £10 million young centre-back signing wouldn't be injured. Marin is not happy with his training and Cornet is not happy. You know what? They're not developing superbly. Although in Marin's case here, he's not enjoying being trained in endurance. But I really need his stamina to improve. We'll take him off it for now and see if he can improve anyway, but I'm a little bit concerned about that. Ferry is expecting to leave the club during this transfer window. I mean, literally, mate, no one is offering for you. And as much as I don't value you, I don't really want to sell you for less than £4 million if I can avoid it. I'm just thinking about strikers we could bring in, and I've just had a name pop into my head, but I don't know how much they're going to want for him. And it's Moise Kean of Juventus. He's on loan, he's 18, he's a very, very good player with lots of potential, but Juve sometimes are quite willing to let him go in the first season. He wouldn't be able to just play for us until next season. And they want way too much money. Sometimes you get this, like a name pop in your head and it's the best idea ever. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. I wonder if we could get Ben Yedder on loan from Sevilla. No, is the answer to that. A resounding no. I like Ben Yedder, but he's just a bit too much money. Who are the strikers in the French under-21 setup? Edouard of Celtic is very good, isn't he? Valued at 14 million, which is right on the cusp of what I'd be willing to pay. Given the fact we've signed Dembele off them, of course, in real life, I don't know if they'd be willing to sell Edouard. It doesn't seem like it. Of course, really what we should be doing here is we should be importing a view and putting our brand new view, the national team's view in. Although I realised that with this national team's view, I didn't include some of the stuff that I really should include, like the contract that they're on, so transfers, well, their value, obviously, in their contract. Where is that under? Is it general? I'm looking for value. Is it personal? I kind of wish that all the stuff here was just better, like, laid out. I guess you can go to... where am I going here? Help me, everyone. Customize current view. And then here you can often find stuff. So, for example, we want wage. Why can I not find wage? Values there. Is it listed as salary or something? I want to know how much he's being paid a week. Is it that difficult? Also, contract stuff would be good. Like expiry date. Is it under expiry? Man, custom views in FM are so good, but they are a real faff to set up. And it's the kind of thing that I'd never ever do on camera normally. And it requires concentration, which I don't have. Right, we'll include transfer value for now. So we can actually see, you know, realistically how much these players are going to cost. You can see, obviously, we've scouted a fair few of them. So we're already familiar with them. Karamo here as a striker. He's already joining Inter. So that ain't happening. What about the under-20s? Yeah, okay. There's no one here. I guess the senior team is going to be full of players way out of our budget. And I would be correct to assume so. I am actually wondering with Pavard if he's still got his release clause in his contract. He has still got that £31 million release clause. He is a very good centre-back. He's valued at 48 million. He's having an immense season. Actually, it's an okay season. Immense is an overstatement. I was going to hopefully ask our board if we could sign him and see if they would fork up the extra money we'd need, but we don't have that option, so I guess we're not doing that. Ferreira, do you want to talk to us yet? You do want to talk to us. Excellent. Of course, this is the guy who has big compensation, but we should just be able to give him a good transfer offer that they'll accept, like £300,000, which is significantly less than the 1.2 million compensation I was looking at potentially having to give him. In terms of contract, we'll give him something not dissimilar to other players of his quality. He's a good player, but he's definitely a player for the reserve team who might then make a lateral movement at some point to the first team in the next couple of years. Anyway, Toussaint suspended for today's game. With that in mind, Papa Cech will come in and play that ball-winning midfielder position. I guess we'll put Jadas on the bench alongside Aouar. Fakir's back and fit, so that's some good news. Dembele's recovered, and I think we're going to have to chance him despite his high kind of injury risk. We are lacking a little bit of a striker here, aren't we? We are lacking one. I'm just thinking in terms of the two new boys who we brought in, Markovic and Dejan, who I'd rather bring in. And I think Dejan is actually the player who I'm going to promote to the senior team. Janas didn't have the best first appearance, but he can play down the middle. Cornet, I'm going to be honest, I've been very, very underwhelmed with. Now, granted, he's not had that many opportunities. He doesn't wow me as a player in Football Manager. He's not my kind of FM player in a lot of ways. He's quite one-dimensional, not a big kind of player with something super standout about him. He's just a quick, reasonably good finisher. You know, it's quite a... And I don't want to say it's a common type of player, but I don't feel like he offers us anything that we don't otherwise have. Dejan, though, going to get the number 68 shirt. So close to being a meme. Our next player to get a shirt number will get number 69. I wonder who it will be. I mean, if that isn't a reason to continue watching this series, I don't know what is. Anyway, let's go into this game and see what we can do. We're at home. We're playing Stade de Reims. I want to play on the front foot. Please, FM. Don't do what you did to us against Saint Etienne. I don't want any of this last-minute goal stuff. Now, granted, maybe I could have changed a bit more for that last game. I'm not even going to pretend that I could have not done anything differently. I'm going to switch our wing-backs to attack. Similar mentality to previously. They're not playing with any attacking wide midfielders or even just regular wide midfielders here. So I'm willing to give the wing-backs a little more permission to get slightly higher up the pitch. We will keep the inside forwards, however, on support. Set piece here. Fakir to Wallace. Oh, okay. Bertrand Traore gets the goal. Wallace, I thought, got the nod down, but I guess it was their defender trying to head it clear. But that is going to settle my nerves. That is going to help me relax a tiny bit. Welcome back to the first team, Fakir. We've missed you. I mean, Bertrand Traore unleashing his inner Paolo Di Canio there with that kind of bicycle kick finish. Just lashes it in. And, well, maybe we can just relax now. Maybe we can just settle. That would be nice, wouldn't it? We've not had a game yet where we've just run rampant from the off. We're looking good here. Marcel, bring the ball forward, hits it. Tidy little finish by a left-back. 2 goals up after half an hour. And, well, good to see our wing-backs, who we are obviously pushing slightly higher up the pitch than they would normally start. Kind of getting that high up the pitch and then getting a goal as well. Papa Cech with the assist, but make no mistake, this is Marcel's goal. I did not know he had that in his locker. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if he knew he had it in his locker either, to be fair. 40 minutes gone, 2-0 up. They've not had a shot yet. This is my kind of game. Okay, they then immediately have a shot. Curse of the commentator strikes. At half-time, though, 2-0. I'm a little scared of complacency, so I'm going to tell the players I'm not happy. Marcel is not happy that I've said that I'm not happy, but we'll go talk to him on his own. He's loving it. I feel like I'm getting deja vu. I feel like that's happened before, where I've criticised the team and Marcel has gone and had a little cry on his own in the corner whilst everyone else reacts well. And then we've come in and saved the day with the personalised team talk for him. But, well, hopefully we can get a few more in this second half. We've got a chance maybe here straight from kick-off. Probably the pointless highlight, but I don't want to believe, and, well, I shouldn't believe it's the pointless highlight, because Bertrand Traore has scored his second goal of the game. I am very concerned about the fact that he has a buyback clause with Chelsea of less than £30 million. To the point that with him and Depay having buybacks, I almost feel like we might be forced into a situation where we have to sell them because I'll be that scared of the previous clubs that they're from, you know, coming in and just swooping in and getting them for peanuts relative to their market value. But yes, a very, very nice goal there by Traore. Monaco drawing against Marseille is an interesting result. I'm not sure if we're playing this as a game in hand or if PSG are also playing today. We will find out, I guess, after the match is up. But this is a midweek game, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is a midweek game, so it would make sense that PSG aren't playing and it's our game in hand. I could be talking out my arse here, though, for all I know. What I do know is we're 3 goals up and looking very good and, well, pressing them very high up the pitch here. What is their keeper doing? For a second, I'm thinking he's going to just boot it straight at our attacker's head and it's going to bounce in. I feel like first half of the season we got a lot of fortunate goals. We've not had any of them recently. Dembele, Fekir probably should be finishing that. Terrier with a half chance as well. The European Golden Boy. Since he got that award, he's not done a great deal. I feel like it's all gone to his head. Fekir's not had the greatest of performances, so we'll bring in Shadas for him. Dembele's been a little disappointing up top, so we'll give a debut to Dejan because we're 3-0 up, so we can probably afford to do it. So yeah, 2 of our younger signings that we've made in January coming into the first team and having, well, hopefully an immediate impact. Jadas whips it interior with the header. It was a half-decent move. Unfortunately, we just couldn't find a way through. Still though, 3-0 up here, and good actually. One thing I'm noting here is a lot of our younger players were actually given football to. It did kind of cost us last game, although we didn't really have a choice. We were forced through injury. But the fact that we're in a position here, we're playing against Rem, who are 10th in the league. They're not one of the worst teams in the division by any means. We're 3-0 up against them with 20 minutes left. We're in an opportunity, and we can bring in players under the age of 20 and just give them this first team experience, which is hopefully going to benefit them in the long run. Traore, man of the match. I mean, he's been probably the best player this year. Terrier started off very strong and has faded. And whilst there are games where Traore vanishes, he's turned up big pretty hugely there. So yeah, this was a midweek game. I wasn't talking complete rubbish. Looking at it here, Monaco drew, so they're now 6 points behind us. We are still only 1 point behind PSG. New contract for Marcel. Marcel, can you sack your agent, mate? Thank you. I like Marcel, but with Moreno coming in, I think Moreno is the long-term solution at left-back, and so for that reason, I don't want to give Marcel a new contract when he's got 2.5 years left on his current deal and he's approaching the age of 30. Dortmund want to bring in Traore. Atletico Madrid want to bring in Traore. Are we about to have some just crazy transfer bids come in to end the January transfer window? I feel like Atletico and Dortmund are teams you can't afford the craziest sums of money. Maybe that's presumptuous. But I feel like they've not got that same financial muscle of, say, the Real Madrids, the PSGs of this world. Anyway, we've got a game against Amiens coming up. I've got this horrible feeling that we're going to get given a massive offer and I'm going to have to seriously consider it. Trincao has got a virus. We'll send him home and play things safe. I don't want anyone else to catch the virus. Please. I mean, that's quite a long time out with a virus. I know there's an injury in FM, which is like a serious viral infection where players are out for like a year. So it's not quite that bad, but it is a teeny tiny bit of a concern. Mario Ferreira is going to join us. £300,000. Again, value in the market, adding to our youth. I'm a big fan of it. In fact, you could say I'm a huge fan of it. As you might have discovered in this January transfer window. I want to plan for the future. I want to be here building a legacy. And whilst in the future, maybe, if we can have a good run in the Champions League, we're going to end up with loads of cash to spend. Ultimately, if I can bring in players who have the real potential to be first-team players, but if I can bring them in for, well, peanuts, let's be honest, £300,000 for this guy is just a crazily good bit of business. Even if he doesn't develop that well, you're never really going to make a loss off him as such. I just feel like it's a really smart thing to do. For his training, I'm just wondering what we want to train him in. I think we will train him to play down the centre. He's already capable of playing on either wing. But as centre attacking mid, he looks like he could be pretty well suited. His strength is very, very lacking. So we'll put a focus on that. We've got a game against Amiens here. You know what? We'll do it today. We'll do another match. We're going to be going over an hour mark again for not the first time this week. This like the last few episodes have been a little bit longer. I feel like it's kind of easy to fall into the trap of them being longer. When it comes to, well, the January games, just because there's a bit more going on. There's a little bit more between matches to focus on. In terms of team news here, I don't think I want to change anything. We're pretty much at full strength as far as the starting 11 goes now, which is good. I say that, Depay's obviously out, but he never really got settled into the team. He's out for between 2 to 7 weeks. That's a pretty big range on an injury. I guess we'll have to monitor his recovery. Josef Martinez is still coming back. Marin as well. He's, a player needs to build up some fitness. We will keep Dejan on the bench. St. Maximin, do I want to bring you in? I'm just looking at the average ratings for the last 5 games. I feel like we've been a teeny tiny bit underwhelming in the final third. Maybe it's just we have such high expectations of ourselves. Obviously, we can ignore the friendly here. So when you look at the last 4 games, we've scored We scored 2 against Nice and 3 against Rennes, but then 1 goal against Dijon, and we didn't score obviously against Saint-Etienne. It is really not ideal. You can see we've got that cup semi-final coming up against Guingamp on the 30th. Also, PSG is immediately on the horizon here. So this is a big game for us. Really want to win this so that we're applying serious pressure to PSG. And obviously if we lose this and they win, it would perhaps mean that come January 2nd, they're not quite as... not quite as under the cosh as if we're, breathing down their neck and just 1 point behind, like we could potentially be if we win here, even if they win. We want to keep the pressure on their shoulders. Anyway, I do expect us to win here. Away from home, we're going to play our attacking system. It serves us well. I'm not going to change anything too early on here. This is kind of the shape that they're playing is kind of the shape that this tactic is designed to kind of really go toe-to-toe with. I feel like we have the personnel to win the man-to-man battle. Across the board, condition is pretty good on the team as well. As I said, this is almost our strongest starting 11, so I expect us to win this game quite handsomely. And well, let's get it. Let's just do it, shall we? I mean, cue me immediately conceding. But no, we should be winning this game comfortably. Traoré bringing it forward. Dembele goes to Terrier. Not the best ball in. And we're going to try and maybe build from the back here. Toussaint to Tete. Traoré brings the ball forward. As man of the match last time out to Fekir. To Dembele. Lovely goal. Obviously, our big players linking up in the final third. That is what we want to see. Nabil Fekir with the assist. Moussa Dembele hammering it home. We go top of the league, boys. I don't know, is there a French equivalent of like, we are top of the league, say we are top of the league? That's the song our fans are singing right now. Ball whipped in, back post. Wallace is there, hits the woodwork. Rebound is not found. Hey, I'm a poet. Also, PSG. Oh, I was about to say PSG just scored. They've then immediately conceded. Go on, Stade Rennais. Treat them like they're Arsenal for us. Fekir back post whips it in. Wallace, Traoré. That did not look offside to me. Can we go to VAR? I'm doing the VAR hand gesture. We're not going to VAR. We are actually. It was off apparently. I mean, why is that the point of offside? I feel like the VAR guy needs training, and it was offside to be clear, but the pause there in the VAR replay was wrong. Can we get some, official training done for the VAR guys? Is that possible? Anyway, we've got a chance here to get things out, and well, we failed miserably. Fortunately for us, Amiens not finding the target with their effort there. It's been a pretty dominant first half. They're yet to have a shot on target, but it is only 1-0-0, so we're going to get shouty. We're going to get angry. We're going to get mean. Patches O'Houlihan, my greatest inspiration in life. I was about to say not many people will get that reference. If you don't know the reference I've just referenced with Patches O'Houlihan, please just pause the episode now, go watch the movie Dodgeball, and then come back. You can probably rent it off YouTube for $2 or something. Does anyone actually rent movies off YouTube? I've never done it. Never. Answers on a postcard. If you've ever rented a movie off YouTube, what movie was it? I'm curious. Like, do these people exist? I don't know. Do these people even watch my videos? Again, don't know. Otero. That's quite good, isn't it? They score a free kick, and now we kind of have to panic and maybe make some changes. Right, Saint-Maximin get on. Jadas for Bertrand Traoré, who's had a poor game, and Ndombele off for Papa Cech. We're going with all the changes here. No messing around. Less playing the ball out the back. More direct play. I'm not making the mistake we made against Stade Rennais where... Saint-Etienne, where we don't make any tactical changes. We need to make changes. It's 1-1 here. Yes, they've scored a set piece. Yes, it's against the run of play massively, but we're not creating enough ourselves. Perhaps trying to work it into the ball too much. I want us to be more direct. I want us to, try the killer ball more often. Marcel whips it in. Traoré, who is coming off. I mean, it was our first half chance of the game, but we're now doing a complete tactical change and a triple sub. I'm going to get shouty. 10 minutes, boys. We need a goal. PSG, on the other hand, winning 5-1. This is the nightmare scenario I talked about, where we could go now into the game against PSG knowing that it doesn't really matter what we do against them. We're going to be trailing them still. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Another disappointing result. Yes, we have been hit hard by injury. Yes, we've dominated this game. 4 half chances. The fact we've not scored and then they score a free kick is very unfortunate, and it's massively against the run of play. It's not ideal. I mean, we're 3 points behind PSG with better goal difference. What is the separating rule in the league? I feel like it's head-to-head results and not goal difference. If it was goal difference, I wouldn't be as frustrated. Okay, it is goal difference. So a win against PSG, we would go top. It makes me feel slightly better about things, but at the same time, the loss and the draw are just... we're going to look back on them and regret them because they're not against big teams that we should be worried about. They're teams that we need to be beating comfortably, and we've failed miserably. It does make me wonder with the transfer money that we've got, do we just go out there and get one massive player? Is there like a striker of real quality who we should just be picking up? Is that a striker of real quality? I mean, there's Barini. I mean, it's not quite what we're looking for, is it? Just in terms of strikers who we've scouted who are hotly rated. Now he could be an option. Maximilio Gomez, I see come up a lot. But he does count as foreign. And we don't have a foreign spot. He's not actually that far off getting Spanish nationality, but he wouldn't get it to the end of the year, so he's not really a solution right now. Which is a shame, because he looks pretty good. I see Origi's already agreed to move. You could go for someone like Kasper Dolberg, but he's injury prone and inconsistent. Isn't really what I want here. I feel like Scandinavian teams, like low-key, have some very good players for cheap. I say this whilst looking at the Ajax national team, but they do. Just wonder if there's anyone here worth taking a look at. Obviously, in terms of players we've signed, we have just signed Gronley. Does Norway have any other players besides Gronley and Odegaard who are really good? They have Haaland, of course. He's very good this year in FM. But I fear that they are going to want too much money for him. He's not completely out of our budget, you know. And if I want another striker, he could be a pretty good addition. I think they're going to want in the region of 15 million. Let's see if we can get some kind of deal agreed with clauses over a period of time. I feel like for 15 million, there might be better options out there. But that might be where we start tomorrow's episode. Okay, well that's an option, 15 million, and that would include 3 installments of 2.5 million, which isn't too crazy, to be honest. Sweden could be worth looking at. You know, maybe they've got the Zlatan Ibrahimovic regen. Maybe. I mean, it's unlikely. They've got Jordan Larsson here. I mean, he's not bad at all. Like, if you were a championship team, he'd be a kind of player worth taking a punt on. Gustav Nilsson as well really doesn't look that bad. Strandberg, again, looks okay. Malmo. Do Malmo have anyone good? They do. They're just not a striker. You know what, boys? I might need some suggestions in the comments. I might need some. I like Haaland. I do. I'm going to go away and have a bit of a think about strikers this year in FM who might tick the bill. I know we've brought in a number of younger ones like Dejan, but I mean the reality is we spent £2 million on them for, you know, Jolovic and Markovic. They are players we brought in really as longer term players. But I do feel like just someone who's an alternative to Dembele could be worth it, because Martinez is just not scoring goals like he should be. I mean, how does Martinez compare to Haaland? I mean, they're very different players. Haaland's only 18, though. I kind of want to offer out Martinez, but I worry he's going to kick up a stink. Let's just offer him out for 15 million. We signed him for 6 million. Is anyone going to want to offer any money for him? Haaland doesn't want to join us, so he's off the table. Martinez is unhappy. I'm not going to let you go. Right, I've lied to him. If we got an offer, I probably would have sold him, but we didn't, so we're not going to sell him. Okay. I need to go away and have a think about strikers, I think, but we'll leave things here for today. Some pretty disappointing results all in all. Next episode is going to be a massive one. Deadline day is going to be coming up. I feel like we're going to be doing deals down to the wire. We're also going to have PSG and Nice to play. Don't think we'll get to the Atleti game, but, well, you guys will have to keep an eye out for that one on the horizon. Anyway, folks, that's going to be all from me today. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, do drop a like on today's video. Was another longer one. I apologise if there was a bit of thinking going on today, you know, lots of umming and ahhing and stuff. Obviously, with this being a 100% live series, I don't go away between episodes and look around loads of players and try and work out who I want to sign. I'm trying to show you guys the whole process. There are times where I need to concentrate instead of commentate. But obviously, transfer window is going to be over soon. I mean, looking at it here, we've got Monaco in 3rd, Nice in 8th and PSG next month. It's going to be a big February, but after then, at least theoretically, the games do ease up a little bit. Will be interesting, of course, Champions League football to look forward to as well. Right, enough thinking and worrying about the future. That's for tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully I see you guys then. If you have enjoyed the video, as I already said, leave a like, comment away. I need striker suggestions. And, well, I will see you again tomorrow. It is me, Jack, and I'm out. I'll talk to you all in a bit.